for many adults, the discovery of wonder is quite scary.
The belief that children are natural philosophers inspired Matthew Lipman to write a series of children's books in which philosophical ideas are built into the storyline. These novels of ideas for 6 to 17-year-olds are the cornerstone of the Philosophy for Children program. The philosophy program is aimed at children of all ages and abilities, but here at Tuscan School they've used it so far to stimulate underachievers.
We'll know that's math problems. Okay, I've just got room for one more here. So is there someone who hasn't had a question?
After 5 months of philosophy, Catherine's class of slow developers are beginning to master the thinking tools of logic and reason. They've already reached the academic level of their peer group.
I can answer Lauren's question because she always thinks a lot. That's why she doesn't talk a lot.
Okay. Lauren?
You know it. She's thinking again. She's always thinking.
When they find themselves talking and being listened to by their peers, that's a very intoxicating experience, you see, and their self-esteem rises. And that's one of the things you want to happen in the classroom because there's a correlation between ability to learn and self-esteem. And many of the worst learners are people who have very low self-esteem, don't think that they could learn, don't think that they can think for themselves or just think.
I agree with Joanna because your brain is for learn and powerful.
So you agree with Joanna that your brain thinks, and you don't agree with Clarissa, who said it's you that thinks.
What's Clarissa saying?
She says it's you that thinks, not your brain. That is an interesting thing to say, Clarissa. It's a connection. You're right, Christian. Philip.
Well, I disagree with Clarissa because if you didn't have a brain, you wouldn't even be thinking about the word that I'm talking right now. So it would be impossible without your brain. I think it could be possible with your brain because you have a heart, and the heart can beat, and it could think that it's beating.
You think that...
I disagree with Joanna and Adele.
Bradley?
And I disagree with Carissa because you can have, if your heart beats, that's just your heart thinking. You don't know if your heart thinks.
You don't know if your heart thinks.
And if you have your brain like we really do, you would know all the thoughts.
Okay. Lauren?
I agree with Carissa because you think, like, and your brain stores your thoughts.
So it's really you that's doing the thinking. Okay. Robbie?
Well, if you didn't have a brain, you would say, what's that phone? What's that? How would you know what was happening, and how would you know how to spell the word if you didn't think about the word? You don't know anything, so you won't know what you're saying, and you don't know it.
So you can't even say, what's that? Is that what you're saying?
Because if you don't know it, then it's like, well, I don't know what that is, and you don't even know where you are. You don't even know how to say what. I know. You can't even talk because you don't know what the words are.
Christian?
No, because you have them. Well, I think I can sort of answer Mom's question because if you didn't have a brain, I know why they say you would die because you wouldn't have a brain, so you would keep falling down. You would keep falling down into the street and you would get run over, so you would just be immediately dead if you didn't have a brain. I disagree with Kristen because you would walk, and I disagree with Patrick. Your brain wouldn't tell you that you would walk. I'm thinking that I've got to talk, and if I didn't have a brain, I wouldn't be talking. Or if I didn't have a brain, I couldn't hear you, and I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be at school, or I wouldn't be doing anything. I wouldn't be alive.
I think that they're concentrating more on the process of how they get to their response.
The 22 teachers of this workshop are being trained in the philosophy program by Catherine McCall.
I just wanted to add to that, and it's funny because
They've been experimenting with it in their own classrooms, and they all report a lively response in the children exposed to it.
one of the things I found difficult in the beginning and enjoy now is the fact that I had to examine my thinking and support my conclusions. And that's exactly what I want children to do. I want them to respond thoughtfully and be able to defend and support what they say.
We're regaining, I think, that curiosity that we once had. I mean, truly what I liked about philosophy at first was it was finally okay for me to ask questions. I mean, my whole life, living with the dogma and going to really, religious schools, I was always the bane of the teachers because it was always why, and suddenly here's a vehicle where it's all right.
We assume that the quality of thought increases with age. I'm not so sure that's true. I think that given an opportunity, the quality for thought is always there. It's just that the opportunity isn't presented.
When Laura and Paul grow up, and they get really old, they won't know anything because they used up all of their thoughts.
Laura, do you agree with the fact that you could use up all your thoughts when you were young and then you wouldn't have any more?
You can't use up all your thoughts because sometimes I have thoughts and I forget them and I don't have any more for the rest of the day.
So that means you only have a certain amount of thoughts and then they're all
For one
used up?
day.
Stevie?
I disagree with Lauren because you always have thoughts. Everybody has thoughts. There's never no thoughts. There's always at least one thought in the world.
I think that you are watching a major change in the nature of education. Because if you could get education to center on thinking rather than rote learning, then you're preparing for a very different kind of world.
A major change in education is most needed where it is least likely to happen, in America's decaying inner cities. Across the Hudson River from Manhattan, the city of Newark is suffering from the worst symptoms of social decay. In the streets of downtown Newark, poverty and violence are identical twins, and drug dealing is endemic.
Signing up with the grades. If these fellas sit down in front, they probably deal on the street for them. But you get a look at that house, you see what we have to go through to get in some of these places.
For police who cruise these streets day and night, this is a war zone. For young blacks in the inner city, it's an achievement to reach the age of 30 without dying from AIDS, drugs, or homicide.
That's 32 Green Street.
You want to give it up, sweetheart, or you want to get locked up? We just seen you pass it.
I was giving him change. I swear to God on my dead child, I ain't got nothing. I was just giving him change.
Don't even use that dead towel on me no more, okay?
I'm serious.
The only escape from a life of crime is the schoolhouse. In downtown Newark, Bergen Street Middle School stands like a fortress, the only mark of permanence in the desolate streets.